Hey guys, Kevin Goetz here from Mute Prophet with another free YouTube lesson. At this point in the series, we've talked a lot about how professional musicians think differently from amateurs. When you're an amateur musician, you can get away with practicing guitar for an hour a day and steadily improving. That might make you a good guitarist, but it won't make you a professional one, at least not quickly. When you cross the line into professional territory, one of the first things that has to change is the way you look at practice. Now obviously there are differing views on what makes a good practice schedule. I love Rusty Cooley as a player. I've said this multiple times throughout the course of this series now, but his idea of a practice schedule just does not do it for me. He suggests 20 to 30 minutes per technique, just drilling exercises in that one technique over and over and over again, with a metronome, and you're focused entirely on speed. That's effective. Don't get me wrong, and we'll talk about how we incorporate this approach into the practice schedule I recommend, which is a bit less neurotic. But it's boring as hell if that's all you do, and it does not develop your musicality at all. Plus, even working on 4 techniques, so let's say sweeping, alternate picking, vibrato, and tapping, that's gonna put you at 2 hours a day, which isn't always reasonable. Now, I've always advocated the idea of writing music that pushes your abilities. Sit down with your tab editor and write something that you just cannot play, and make it your goal to become able to play it. Case in point, this lick started as a sweep picking exercise. And now it's a crowd favorite when we play live. Now, as I'm sure you can imagine, when you have enough songs written in this way to fill a couple hours of playtime, you don't need to do a whole lot else in terms of practice. That said, if your songwriting's not there yet, that you can't push yourself, then maybe put together a list of half an hour to an hour of songs that you can cover, that push your abilities in the same way. Before I started writing my own music, I used to play Children of Bodom songs for this purpose. The advantage here to either playing to your own music or playing to pre-written music is that it develops your sense of melody and rhythm. The advantage here, whether playing your own music or playing pre-written music that you're covering, is that it develops your sense of melody and rhythm. You learn to hear the intricacies of playing along with other instruments. You hear the chord changes and drum beats, not just the droning click of a metronome. If you absolutely cannot handle the idea of playing songs to build your technique, it's okay to stick with the Rusty Cooley method that I mentioned earlier. You're just going to have to find other ways of developing your musicality and not just your technique, or you're going to be very robotic, which is always a bad thing. If not, if you like the idea of playing actual songs to build your technique, there's an addition you should try to make to your practice schedule as well. I'm assuming in this case that you can spare more than an hour to practice. If not, stick around to the end of the video and we'll go over a sample method for those of you who absolutely have only 1 hour. So, currently where we are, just because I just said a bunch of stuff and it's a little vague, I'm assuming that you like the idea of playing songs to build your technique, and I'm assuming that you have maybe an hour and a half to 2 hours a day you can practice. What you should do is assign 1 technique to each day of the week. Grab a metronome, put something funny on Netflix. That is very, very important. Or Hulu, whatever the hell you have. Watch a comedy. I like Family Guy for this purpose. South Park, whatever. And then start drilling for half an hour to an hour. For me, Monday is sweeping, Tuesday is alternate picking, Wednesday is wide stretch licks, Thursday is vibrato, bending, phrasing tricks like that. Friday is legato, Saturday is hybrid picking, and Sunday is tapping. Some weeks I might replace one thing with another thing. Cut out my current most comfortable technique and put in, I don't know, string skipping, hypothetically. And this is going to be in addition later in the day to your hour of playing songs. And another thing is to pick 2 or 3 days out of the week and add in a half-hour block of just improvising over instrumental backing tracks. They're millions of them. Just Google shit, go on YouTube, type like, I don't know, D minor backing track for guitar. You get the idea. This will help you build your sense of phrasing and improvisation, which helps you to take all the techniques that you've been doing such a good job of developing and apply them in a musical way that's unique to you. And that's it. So, in summation, practice to music 7 days a week for 1 hour. Practice one technique every day of the week for an additional 30 minutes to an hour. And practice improvising 3 days a week for half an hour. That's the ideal. But for those of you who absolutely cannot spare more than 1 hour, I mean, first off, maybe you need to make some sacrifices elsewhere. I'm not being judgmental. Personally, I realized I was playing video games with my friends for 2 to 3 hours a night, and I just shaved off 1 hour of that, and boom, had 2 hours. For everyone, it may not be so simple. I get it. Some people literally only have an hour. That's okay. So if you're absolutely sure that an hour is all you have, you're just gonna have to cut some corners. Keep practicing one technique per day of the week for half an hour. Cut playing along to actual songs down to half an hour. And then 3 days a week, just replace practicing to actual songs with improvising. Boom, that's it, there you go. Done. Using this practice schedule, I went from pretty much a complete beginner to comfortably advanced in about a year. I'm confident that you guys can do it too, probably in less time, because for me, I didn't have this coherent set. In the process of developing it, I made that level of improvement. I've seen students get the same kind of results in, I think 8 months was the quickest. So, yeah. No, this shit works. Try it. Bye.